What's up, everybody? I wanted to come on here today to discuss my blood work and my detox protocol based on the how I've been feeling, my behavior patterns and habits that have gone through the last 6 months. But every 6 months, I get my blood work done, and based on the diagnostics that I get done, I make some shifts and changes so that I can continue to keep my body as healthy and young as possible. Now, I'm going to go over the physical, biochemical, emotional, and nutritional values from what I see and what I interpret. I believe that this day and age, you really have to be your own doctor to understand how to navigate your own health in the optimal way. I'm 47 right now and, not getting any younger. And I want to, make sure that I'm able to be there to play with my kids when I'm, older. So this is how I do it. This is not health advice or medical advice. All right. Disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. And this is how I've created a system for myself to keep myself as healthy as possible. Now, I'm not perfect by any means. I struggle with things, and I'm going to go into that too, right? But the point is that if you can take away or resonate with any of these kind of behavior patterns, habits, and things, and with the blood work, maybe you can take some takeaways from what I have going on here. So, first and foremost, every 6 months or so, I like to do a deep, deep detox emotionally, physically, biochemically, nutritionally, and spiritually. I like to encompass it all, right? Because I believe that that's the only way that we can truly, truly stay healthy and heal ourselves. So, 6 months ago, I did an ayahuasca ceremony, and I also did 2 servings of Kambo. And leading up to that, of course, there's a special diet that needs to be done for about 2 weeks. I usually cut out meat about a week out because I actually really thrive on a carnivore diet or keto, basic diet that keeps my blood sugar still. But in the last few months, as I've been working on building muscle and trying to stay as active and competitive as possible, I've been eating carbs. Also, I've had some emotional stuff come up, and I'm human, right? Like we all, every now and then, we emotionally eat. At least I do, and particularly in the last few weeks. With a lot of change going on, I went through a period of time where my inner fat kid came out, and I, ate some junk food, and I'll tell you what, out of all the habits and all the patterns, that I have and that I've seen from the changes, it is eating the processed sugar and eating all the artificial crap out there that does the most damage, which is pretty wild. So let's get into the blood work and see what it has to say. Now, this blood work is from the VA, so they only test, for certain things. I don't have my testosterone on here, but typically, my testosterone, I keep it between 800 and 1300. All right. I believe right about now, with the amount I'm taking, I'm probably somewhere around 1200. And I'm going to bring that down gradually as I prepare for my next ayahuasca ceremony. And I'm going to do probably 2 to 3 combo sessions leading up to or during my ayahuasca ceremony time. And the diet, the stillingness of the mind is very important. I also back off of my training a little bit so my nervous system can fully relax and fully go into parasympathetic dominance for a little bit. Because training all the time, it's very constrictive, right? And even though I do a lot of vibroacoustic therapy, I do a lot of red light therapy, even ozone therapy, and cryotherapy. It's still important to really take some time every now and then just to relax the nervous system in all ways because our body can go into sympathetic dominance so easy, but the parasympathetic balancing out is much more difficult, right? And it's also good for the mind to help slow down the mind and keep it in check. So vitamin D, my vitamin D is 52.1, which is within range. It's a little bit low though. So I just recently started supplementing with vitamin D again to bring that up, and that combined with the red light therapy is really going to optimize that. Also like I live in Florida, so I have a lot of sun too. PSA, my PSA is 0.42, which is excellent, very, very low. So I'm not having to worry about my prostate. Hepatic function. We have now these are again just basic numbers, but we can derive some, important baselines from this. Okay, so my AG ratio is excellent. Protein total is right there in the lower normal. Albumin is also right in the middle range, and bilirubin looks great too. Alkaline phosphate is low normal, so that's all good. Now, my my AST and my ALT, my two liver enzyme identifiers, are a little bit high. AST is actually fairly high. It's 69, and ALT is at 46, just above the high normal range. So I was microdosing Iboga for a while now. Iboga, although very, very healing, also makes the liver work pretty hard, right? So what I did to mitigate that was I got off the Iboga, and also I was there was a short period of time where I was taking a little bit of Anavar pre-workout, right, to help boost my strength a little bit. So I'm stopping all that, and I'm getting back on my 500 milligram glutathione suppositories. And I also added some NAD in there for the antioxidant benefits and the mitochondrial enhancing evidence. So that's going to help tremendously with the liver and balance that out. And I just started that about a week ago. Okay. Bilirubin looks good. Now, my cholesterol. There's a lot of false information out there about cholesterol. My cholesterol's always been high. When I was younger, it was in the 300s, my overall cholesterol numbers. My cholesterol now is at 223, which is actually the best it's ever been, the overall number. Or I should say it's the lowest it's ever been. I don't really know if that's the best per se. But higher cholesterol, the body produces cholesterol for a reason. So trying to manipulate cholesterol has been a psyop, in my opinion. Now, I will say the relevance between the LDL, HDL, and the ratio between the two is quite important, and that's where I'm really taking a look at. So my LDL cholesterol is quite high, 140 milligrams per deciliter. It's borderline high. So I am exercise, or I should say more cardio, is I feel is going to help with that quite a bit, and also cutting out the carbs, because as you'll see, my A1C is borderline as well. So cutting out the carbs, and I also just got back on retatrutide, which retatrutide is very, very good for sensitizing the insulin receptors and also processing stuff through the liver as well, and helping mitigate some any kind of cravings I might have for that sugar as I've cut that out. All right, so direct LDL is not recorded. Overall cholesterol, of course, like I said, is 223, which in my opinion is actually very good. I would actually even like to have it a little bit higher. Triglycerides are kind of high. Now, my triglycerides have always been fairly high. However, supplementing with omega-3 fatty acids and maybe adding some fresh salmon in there. Not really a big fan of fish since I kind of killed that vibe when I was competing. So I'm definitely going to take the omega-3 supplements. Between that and cutting out the sugar and artificial sweeteners and any kind of artificial preservatives is going to help tremendously as well. Now my HDL is quite low. It's at 24. So I want to get that number up, which is what the omega-3s are going to help with tremendously. And of course, again, really baseline cutting out all that sugar does about 70% of the work, right? Everything else is just detail work. And I already work out a lot, right? I just need to do more cardio to work my heart a little bit better. So I've noticed as I get older, I need to focus more on cardio, more on stretching so that things can stay nice and balanced. Cholesterol, HDL cholesterol ratio is 9.3, which is kind of high. I'd like to have that number a little bit lower. So I'm going to work on that 100%. Now, EGFR-CR, that's the glucosamine filtration rate in the kidneys. So my number is 67. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions around this number, especially with athletes, particularly bodybuilders that eat a lot of food, that train hard all the time. When you train hard all the time and you're consistently eating, it's making the organs work, right? That's just how it goes. There's always breakdown in the muscle tissue and processing and lactic acid. And the liver and kidneys have to filter all these things, right? So having a 67 is actually not that bad. For someone that wasn't training like this and everything, I'd be a little nervous. However, I've what I've done before because it's been around this number for years, and I did a test one time where I didn't train for a week and I fasted for a few days, and the number literally went up to I think 78. All right, and within I think it was 7 to 10 days. All right, so as long as it doesn't go below 67, I feel good about this. But I would also like to get some cystatin C test just to make sure. Now, there's also a big reason why I am doing this detox to make sure that I'm cleaning out my body, that I'm letting the autophagy kick in with a little bit more fasting, with the low carbs, and with the supplementation of all the antioxidants that I'll be consuming. I'm sure that that number is going to raise up, especially when I step back from training a little bit. But every 6 months or so, at least that's the time frame for me. I find it really helps to rejuvenate and re-energize my mind and my body to get back to the foundation and relax. There's a time for pushing it, and then there's a time for relaxing and coming back and letting things smooth out so that you can stay optimized with longevity. Okay. Creatinine is a little bit high, but I've also been supplementing with creatine, and it's 1.32. Reference range goes up to 1.18. So again, it's borderline. I'm not that worried about it. Just got to make sure I stay pretty well hydrated. Urea nitrogen is good. The glucose, my resting glucose is 93 milligrams per deciliter. As long as that's under 100, we're good. Now, I also know that long-term use of HGH, right? I use low doses of Ceristim. Never go above 2 IU, but even that over time, that will have a insulin desensitizing effect. So I added berberine, and of course the retatrutide with the cutting out of the carbs is going to help to resensitize that. But I also dropped my HGH down to 1 IU, and I will get off for a few weeks while I'm stepping into this detox place. So that should be able to reset that. And I'm going to go ahead and get blood work done after I do all the detox before I, start hitting it again. But I do reduce everything quite a bit. Now, when I reduce everything, there's quite an emotional and mental shift that comes along with that because now for the few weeks I don't really get a pump, right? I feel a little bit sluggish and tired. Some days actually when I start the process, especially when I cut my testosterone about half, that has there's a threshold effect that I feel a little crappy and a little emotionally low and got no sex drive and it's a process, but I do my best to be kind to myself because again, I like to push it. I like to move. I like to make things happen. So when I have to slow down, I feel lazy. I feel almost like a burden to myself, right? So I do more breathing or breath work. I really sit with myself as much as I can and take it easy on myself. I don't try to push myself too hard all the time, unless I have deadlines and I try to schedule my things around this, right? So life gets busy, but the big part of this is being able to anticipate the understanding of how the emotions will shift and how like I realize that I love a pump, right? It feels good every morning I get up, I go to the gym, I get a good sweat on, get those natural endorphins flowing. I can't push myself as hard. And also lately, working with Battle Zone, I've been beating the crap out of myself once a week. So it's going to be good to, give that inflammation a rest and let my body just kind of woosah a little bit. All right, but back to the blood work. Potassium looked good, chloride, CO2, calcium. Free thyroxine is at the low normal. My TSH looks a little bit high, right? So maybe need more iodine or bring some more foods that have iodine into the mix, and I'm working on that. All right, serum phosphate looks good, a little bit low normal, but it's still good. And B12 is right where it should be. Okay, so my differential blood count. This is my immune system, seeing how my immune system is fucking in. Lymphocytes look good, basophils perfect, eosinophils right there, monocytes, uh, eosinophils again, basophils, monocytes. These are all different kind of immune cells, and they're all within normal range, looking good. I don't see anything here that is something to be concerned about, right? Hematocrit's 48.6. I like that number. Anytime if it gets to 50, that's right around the time that I will go donate blood. All right, to get rid of some of those red blood cells. Whenever you are on TRT, you want to make sure that you take a look and watch your hematocrit level so the blood doesn't get too thick. Okay, MCV looks pretty good. The MCH low normal, which is okay. MCHC looks pretty good. Again, really all these. Now my red blood cell CV, that's the size of the red blood cells. That's a little bit high, but this alone by itself is not too concerning, right? Um, it could be a multitude of factors, but I feel okay with that. Uh, Platelets 185, which is in a good spot, and MPV is right there in the normal range. Now, when we go to the hemoglobin A1C, it's at 5.7. Reference range is 4.2 to 5.8. Okay, so my last blood work 6 months ago was at 5.2. So that for me is telling me that my body is going in a little bit of an unfavorable direction, right? So again, taking a step back, doing this detox, I believe is going to help to bring that number back down a little bit. And finally, the urinalysis. We're looking at the appearance is clear, yay. Urine color is yellow. Specific gravity is 1.025. That's right about smack in the middle of where it should be. Urobilinogen is looks good. No blood in the urine and no bilirubin in the urine and no ketones in the urine. Um, no glucose, no protein, and urine pH 6.0, right smack where it should be. And no nitrites, no leukocytes. Those are all signs of bacterial infections, so I'm good there. All right. So, what the combo does, got to hydrate really, really, really well. And that cleans out the gut really well. It kills off parasites, fungus, mold, yeast, clears out heavy metals. It cleans out the lymphatic system. And it'll definitely make you purge. I mean, it is a purgative. And when it cleans you out, and it activates bile secretion as well, which is really, really good for the liver, right? So all these things, cleaning out the liver is also going to help to give the kidneys a break. Um, Taking out all the sugars and any kind of junky food is going to give my pancreas a break and let everything kind of settle back into a balanced mechanistic process. All right. So depending on how I feel after one session, I may do another one. I may not. If I feel good and aligned, then I'm good to go. And then of course, when I get ready to drink ayahuasca, that's a period of time where I take 3 days and I don't connect to the outside world. It's just me with myself and connecting to the spirit of ayahuasca, connecting to my higher self, and also cleaning out all the gunk, opening my heart more and seeing what the next chapter of my life has in store for me. So, usually after that, I take a day or two to just be in nature, go down to the beach or just relax and reflect. Reflect on the last 6 months, reflect on what I did good, what I did not do good, what I could have done better, how I've been dealing with my life situations. Every now and then, take a step back to see like where are my priorities, where am I operating from obligation, and where am I operating from love? And I personally noticed recently that I have a habit of doing things out of obligation sometimes, right? Saying yes when I want to say no, or my body tells me I should say no, or saying no when I, feel like I should have said yes. All these things are about being brutally honest with myself and about stepping into the highest vibrational version of me, So I want to make sure when I'm around anybody that I bring out the best in them and that I reflect the best of me. Now, being 100%, 100% of the time I think that's impossible, but I strive for, to be 1% better every day. And I have my off days, my good days and my bad days. Some days I don't really feel up for going to the gym. And sometimes, I'll push myself to go and then I'll feel better. Some days I'll push myself to go and I feel worse. So it's identifying those nuances where really listening to my body and understanding where the influence is coming from. Is it coming from a place of lack or fear, or is it coming from a place of growth and love? And that's a constant learning process because there's always something happening. You're either growing or you're decaying, right? So I'm excited to share with you guys, the process which I'm going through. And if you like to stay on top of it, please hit subscribe, follow, and if this video generated any questions and any ideas, any comments, please feel free to leave them down below, and we'll get into a context, and I can talk about that in the next video. All right. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. Aho.